Hello.
Okay. Give it a shot. So call the meeting to order, the first meeting of the Winnipeg School Division Board of Trustees for Monday, September 14th, 2020. And I'll now call the roll. Trustee Adele.
Here.
Trustee Reed.
Here.
Trustee Murdoch. Trustee Dumont.
Here.
Trustee Shetkowski.
Here.
Trustee Chen.
Here.
Trustee Broughton.
Here as well.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to introduce Myra Laramie, who will be reading a formal statement on the acknowledgement of Indigenous people of Canada. Myra.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm honored to be back again to read aloud the acknowledgement of Indigenous people of Canada for the Winnipeg School Division. The Winnipeg School Division believes in the principle of human rights as identified in the Manitoba Human Rights Code, the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, and the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of the Indigenous Peoples. The Winnipeg School Division has committed to creating and maintaining an environment in which students, parents, employees, and members of our school communities are aware of and respect the rights and human dignity of others. In appreciation and recognition of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Canada calls to action, students in Winnipeg School Division are learning that we are all treaty people and that Treaty Number 1 was entered into on August 3rd, 1871 at Lower Fort Garry. Our schools and administrative buildings all exist on Treaty 1 land. The province of Manitoba was once the traditional lands of the First Nations peoples, as well as the traditional homeland of the Métis Nation. I'm going to read a paragraph that I missed. The Winnipeg School Division believes in the importance of understanding, respecting, valuing, and appreciating the diverse and cultural differences and perspectives within the community in order to be more successful in providing appropriate education services for students. The Winnipeg School Division has recognized for many years the importance of ensuring that Indigenous perspectives, including the factual information about the histories of Indigenous people, their cultures, languages, and contemporary diversity of lifestyles, are integrated throughout the curricula. This acknowledgement to our Indigenous students, families, staff, and members of the community will serve as our commitment not only to recognize the significant contributions our Indigenous people have made in the development of Canada, but to demonstrate our recognition of the significant Indigenous population within the division and our dedication to the development of initiatives which enhance the education of all students. The Winnipeg School Division will continue teaching First Nations, Métis, and Inuit cultures and traditions and working with our families and our Indigenous communities in a spirit of reconciliation and collaboration to achieve academic success for all students. The Winnipeg School Division will continue to strive to be a leader of excellence in Indigenous education by cooperating with the community to provide resources for the development and preservation of Indigenous education, including academic, cultural, linguistic, and technological programs that engage our students to become successful adults in Canadian society. In recognition of our commitment to embrace and honor the significant contributions that Indigenous people made in the development of Canada, students, families, and members of our community will acknowledge that our schools and administrative buildings are located on Treaty 1 land, the traditional lands of the First Nations people, as well as the traditional homeland of the Métis Nation. I thank you for inviting me this evening, and I speak good words, not only in the acknowledgement, but in my prayers for all of us to be able to once again contribute to the betterment of children's lives in our community and in our schools. Thank you for having me this evening.
Thank you, Myra. So moving on with the agenda, in accordance with the Public Schools Act, the Secretary Treasurer must conduct an election of a chair and vice chair of the board at the first meeting of the school board in September. The board's procedural bylaw number 1263 provides that the membership of the committee shall also be elected by the board at the first meeting of the school board. Therefore, the first item of business on the agenda is the elections and appointments in accordance with bylaw 1263. A summary of the nomination procedures was sent to trustees in advance of the meeting, and it's in the blue document in your agenda package. So the first thing we need is a motion moved by Trustee Broughton and seconded by Trustee Dumont that Pauline Clark, Chief Superintendent, and Eric Barnaby, Director of Human Resources, be appointed as scrutineers. All in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. I will now ask for nominations for the position of Chair of the Board from the floor.
Mr. Cochin, Trustee Broughton, I'd like to nominate for Chair of the Board, Trustee Adele.
Trustee Adele, do you accept the nomination?
Yes.
Are there any further nominations for the position of Chair of the Board? And I'll ask one more time, are there any further nominations for Chair of the Board? Hearing none, Trustee Adele is acclaimed as Chair of the Board. Now we will have nominations from the floor for the position of Vice Chair of the Board. I have a nomination, please. Nomination for Vice Chair. Trustee Chen.
I'd like to nominate Trustee Dumont.
Okay. Trustee Dumont, do you accept the nomination?
Yes.
Are there any further nominations for Vice Chair of the Board? I'll ask one more time, are there any further nominations for Vice Chair of the Board? Hearing none, Trustee Dumont is acclaimed as Vice Chair of the Board. And at this point, I will hand the chair over to Trustee Adele.
Thank you, everyone. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the people for supporting me to be in this position as chair. I know we have talked for a while about the importance of being team, so I look forward to working with each and every one of you as a team. I have every faith in everyone's knowledge and skills, so this is going to be an exciting year for us. I also want to thank all the staff at the Winnipeg School Division. I just feel in my heart that these last few months have been very difficult, and all of the staff that are associated with the Winnipeg School Division have risen to the challenge, have worked very hard, have shown their dedication and commitment to the children, youth, and families in this school division. So I want to honor that every single person contributed to where we are. I want to acknowledge that we are in a very strange times and that there is, with the coming back to school and that, I have no doubt that everyone who was involved with the planning of coming back to school and the implementing of all the policies and procedures really paid attention to every fine detail to really work hard to make sure that the children and youth and all the staff who come in are safe in being in that school. I want to acknowledge that this was a difficult time for the children and youth and the families. And there's some excitement and some anxiety. This is a time when we are literally all in it together. I've been really reading, even when things are coming up, there's always that report of even when we have students who have tested positive, right under it is they followed all the safety procedures. So I just think that's wonderful that their families and the reinforcement of everyone who is in contact with them about the safety. So I just really want to acknowledge that. And I want to acknowledge the importance of us, of young people and children getting back in that environment and learning and socializing. So I'm just very grateful for this opportunity to serve with my fellow board members, to serve the community. Thank you very much. So I'm going to admit I will make lots of boo-boos tonight. So just everyone just has to just let it go, okay? So I guess since I am the chair, I continue on with these elections. So now we are looking for election of chairs of standing committees. So the policy and program committee, are there any nominations from the floor for the policy and program committee? Yes, Trustee Dumont?
I would like to nominate Trustee Reed for Chair of Policy and Program.
Are there any further nominations for Chair of Policy and Program Committee? Are there any further nominations for Chair of the Policy Program Committee? Hearing none. Trustee Reed, do you accept the position of Chair of the Policy Program Committee?
I do.
Okay, thank you very much. So by acclamation, we accept Trustee Reed as the chairperson of the Policy Program Committee. Thank you very much, Trustee Reed. So going on to chairperson of the Finance Personnel Committee, are there any nominations from the floor for policy, for the chair of Policy Personnel? Trustee Chen.
I'd like to nominate Trustee Broughton.
Are there any further nominations from the floor for Chair of Finance Personnel Committee? Are there any further nominations? Hearing none, Trustee Broughton, do you accept the Chair of the Finance and Personnel Committee?
I do, thank you.
Thank you very much. So Trustee Broughton has been acclaimed to the position of Chair of Finance Personnel Committee. We're now moving on to Chair of the Building Transportation Committee. Do we have any nominations from the floor for the Chair of the Building Transportation Committee?
Trustee Adele. I'd like to nominate Trustee Dumont to Chair of the Building and Transportation Committee.
Are there any further nominations from the floor for the Chair of Building Transportation Committee? Any further nominations from the floor? Hearing none, Trustee Dumont, do you accept the position of Chair of Building Transportation Committee?
Yes, I do.
Thank you very much. So Trustee Dumont has been acclaimed as Chair of the Building Transportation Committee. So election of chairs for the Governance and Public Relations Committee.
Trustee
Are-
Adele,
Yes,
I would like to nominate Trustee Shakowski.
okay, thank you very much. Are there any further nominations from the floor for Chair of Governance and Public Relations Committee? Are there any further nominations from the floor for Chair of Governance and Public Relations Committee? Hearing none, Trustee Sinkowski, do you accept the nomination?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you very much. So by acclamation, it's Trustee Sinkowski. Thank you very much. So we have all our chairs. Thank you very much, everyone, for stepping forward. So now we're going to move on to election of standing committee members. We need 2 representatives. So the Finance Personnel Committee, are there any nominations from the floor for the 2 remaining representatives for Finance Personnel?
Chair, I would like to nominate Trustee Dumont and Trustee Reed to the Finance and Personnel Committee.
Are there any further nominations to the Finance Personnel Committee? Any further nominations to the Finance Personnel Committee? Hearing none, Trustee Dumont and Trustee Reed, do you accept your nominations?
Yes.
I do.
Okay, thank you. Building Transportation Committee, we need 2 representatives. Are there any nominations for Building Transportation Committee? Trustee Dumont?
Yes, I would like to nominate Trustee Chen and Trustee Shakowski to the Building and Transportation Committee.
Are there any nominations, any more nominations for the Building Transportation Committee? Any more nominations? Hearing none, Trustee Chen and Trustee Sinkowski, do you accept the nominations to the Building Transportation Committee?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. So by acclamation, Trustee Chen and Trustee Sinkowski are on the Building Transportation Committee. Now we're on Governance and Public Relations Committee. Are there any nominations for 2 representatives for the Governance and Public Relations Committee?
Trustee Adele,
Yep.
I would like to nominate Trustee Broughton and Trustee Chen.
So we have 2 nominations for the Governance and Public Relations Committee. Are there any further nominations? Asking a second time, any further nominations? Hearing none, Trustee Broughton and Trustee Chen, do you accept the nominations for the Governance and Public Relations Committee?
Yes.
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Can you hear me? By the way, can you hear me? Oh,
So the 2 representatives on the Governance and Public Relations are Trustee Broughton and Trustee Chen. So statutory committees. Pension Committee. So we need 4 members on the Pension Committee. So is there any nominations for the Pension Committee, please?
Trustee Adele, I would be glad to nominate 4 trustees to the Pension Committee. With that, I nominate Trustee Dumont, Trustee Reed, Trustee Shakowski, and I'll be so bold as to nominate myself.
Any further nominations? Any further nominations? So hearing none, we have Trustee Dumont, Trustee Reed, Trustee Sinkowski, and Trustee Broughton. Do all of you accept your nomination?
Yes.
Yes.
I do. Thank you.
Thank you. Children's Heritage Fund Committee, we have 2 representatives. So we need 2 representatives. Is there any nomination for 2 representatives for the Children's Heritage Fund Committee? Trustee Chen?
I'd like to nominate Trustee Shakowski. And may I nominate myself?
Are there any further nominations? Any further nominations? Hearing none. Trustee Shinkowski and Trustee Chen, do you accept your nominations?
Yes.
Trustee Shinkowski, do you accept your nomination?
Yes.
Thank you. Joint committees, Winnipeg School Division Police Services Joint Committee. There are 3 positions open. Is there any nominations for the 3 positions on the Winnipeg School Division, Winnipeg Police Services Joint Committee? Trustee Dumont?
Hi, yes, thank you. I would like to nominate Trustee Chen, Trustee Reed, and Trustee Shakowski.
Is there any further nominations? Any further ones? Hearing none. Trustee Chen, Trustee Reed, and Trustee Shinkowski, do you accept your nominations?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Winnipeg School Division WTA Joint Committee. Election of, we need a chairperson? Do we have a nomination for the chairperson of the Winnipeg School Division WTA Joint Committee?
Trustee Adele, if you don't mind, I'd like to nominate Trustee Dumont to the role of chairperson.
Is there any other nominations? Any other nominations? Hearing none, Trustee Dumont, do you accept a chairperson of the Winnipeg School Division WTA Joint Committee?
Yes.
Thank you. And then we need to elect 2 more representatives to the Winnipeg School Division WTA Joint Committee. Is there any nominations for 2 more representatives for that committee? Trustee Dumont?
Hi, yes, I would like to nominate Trustee Broughton and Trustee Shakowski.
Are there any more nominations for 2 representatives for the Winnipeg School Division WTA Joint Committee? Any more nominations? Hearing none, Trustee Broughton and Trustee Shinkowski, do you accept the nomination?
I certainly do. Thank you.
Thank you. So now we're looking at the advisory committees. So Central District Advisory, who's going to be the main person and then the alternate? So Central District Advisory Committee, are there any nominations?
I would like to nominate Trustee Chen as the alternate and Trustee Reed as the representative.
Are there any other nominations for the representative and alternate for Central District Advisory Committee? Any further nominations? Trustee Reed and Trustee Chen, do you accept your nominations?
Yes.
Yes.
Inner City District Advisory Committee, are there any nominations for the rep and the alternate? Trustee Dumont?
Hi, yes, I would like to nominate Trustee Chen as the representative and Trustee Adele for the alternate.
Are there any other nominations? Second time, are there any other nominations? Trustee Chen, do you accept your nomination? Thank
Yes.
you. I'll accept mine for the alternate. North District Advisory Committee, are there any nominations for the representative and the alternate? Trustee Shinkowski?
I would represent Arlene Reed. Trustee Reed. And myself.
Are there any other nominations? Any other nominations? Trustee Reed and Trustee Shinkowski, do you accept your nominations for North District Advisory Committee?
Yes.
South District Advisory Committee, are there any nominations for the rep and the alternative? Trustee Shinkowski?
I would like to nominate Jamie Vaughn and Chris Wilson.
Are there any further nominations for the South District Advisory Committee? Second time, any further nominations? Trustee Dumont and Trustee Broughton, do you accept your nominations?
I do.
I do as well, thank you.
Thank you. French Immersion Advisory Committee, we need one rep and one alternate. Are there any nominations? Trustee Shinkowski?
I would like to nominate James Vaughn and Jennifer Chen.
Are there any further nominations for the French Immersion Advisory Committee? Any other nominations? Trustee Dumont and Trustee Chen, do you accept your nominations?
Yes.
Yes.
Student Advisory Committee, we need one rep and one alternate. Are there any nominations for the Student Advisory Committee?
I would love to nominate Trustee Adele as the representative and myself as the alternate.
Are there any further nominations for the Student Advisory Committee? Any further nominations? So Trustee Broughton, do you accept your nomination?
Having nominated myself, I will accept.
Okay, I accept too. Okay. Administrative Committee, Inclusion Support Committee, we need one representative from there for the 2020-2021 year. Is there a nomination for the Inclusion Support Committee? Trustee Chen?
I'd like to nominate Trustee Reed.
Are there any further nominations? Any further nominations for the Inclusion Support Committee? Trustee Reed, do you accept the nomination?
Wholeheartedly.
Thank you very much. Special committees, the Winnipeg School Division Food Issues Committee, we need 3 representatives there. So one is going to be chair and 2 will be appointed as members. So we need 1 chair and 2 reps for the Winnipeg School Division Food Services Council. Do we have any nominations?
Trustee Adele,
Yeah.
you need to reconstitute the committee first.
Oh. So I just have to say that?
It's not an ongoing committee, so the first step is just to agree that it be reconstituted.
Okay.
And
So I'm
then
going to put the question and then
Yeah.
to vote?
Yeah.
Okay.
Would it be sufficient if I moved the entire motion with the language that's included, and then if there's no other nominations, we can proceed with that?
Sure.
Okay, so with that, I would like to move that the WSD Food Issues Council be reconstituted and that Trustee Chen be appointed as chair, and that Trustee Adele and Trustee Shinkowski be appointed as members to the WSD Food Issues Council.
Do we need a seconder for that?
Probably be appropriate.
Can I get a second on that? Trustee Chen, you're seconding the motion?
Yes.
All in favor? Any opposed? Carried. So we have Trustee Chen appointed as the chair of the Winnipeg School Division Food Services Committee, and Trustee Adele and Trustee Shinkowski as representatives on that committee. Any further nominations? Any further nominations? Trustee Chen, do you accept the appointment as chair of that committee?
Yes.
And I'll accept mine. And Trustee Chinkowski, do you accept your nomination for that committee?
Once again, I do.
Thank you very much. We have successfully completed our nomination of all the committees. Thank you very, very much, everyone, for your patience. Truly appreciate it. Okay. So Brenda created me this beautiful agenda. So moved by Trustee Reed, seconded by Trustee Chen, that the approval of the agenda, that the agenda be approved. Are there any additions? Can I get a seconder for the motion? Trustee Shinkowski. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. We have no delegations tonight, is my understanding. Okay. Reading and confirming of minutes, moved by Trustee Broughton, seconded by Trustee Shinkowski, that the minutes dated June 15th, 2020 be approved as distributed. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. Moved by Trustee Broughton, seconded by Trustee Shinkowski, that the minutes dated August 27th, 2020 be approved as distributed. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. Moved by Trustee Dumont, seconded by Trustee Chen, the reading of communications and petitions. That OC09-20 from Dana Lawrence, Office of Mayor Brian Bowman, acknowledging receipt of letter from the board chair on June 22nd, 2020, that this correspondence be received as information. And this letter is in response to the sale of property. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. Moved by Trustee Dumont, seconded by Trustee Chen, that OC 10-20 from Gord Chappelle, Real Estate Administrator, acknowledging receipt of letter regarding the sale of River Heights Library on June 10th, 2020, that this correspondence be received as information. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. Presentation and consideration of reports. 8.1 Superintendent's Report number 8-2020 dated September 14th, 2020. And now we're going into new business. 9.1 Renaming of Cecil Rhodes School.
Just a point of clarification.
Oh, sorry.
There's a couple of items within the superintendent's report.
Oh, okay, sorry. Sorry, Kate, let's go back to the superintendent's report.
It's attached to the agenda, Trustee Adele.
Okay. I don't see it attached to my, which one is it?
It's one page.
This one? Yeah, can I just borrow it? Yeah. Okay, and read them both? Okay. So number one is loan of service. The Winnipeg Association of Non-Teaching Employees has requested that the loan of service for Carla Paul from January 6, 2020 to July 31st, 2021 be approved. The Winnipeg Association of Non-Teaching Employees will reimburse the division for salary and other related costs. So recommendation that the services of Carla Paul, educational assistant, be loaned to the Winnipeg Association of Non-Teaching Employees on a full-time basis effective January 6, 2020 to July 31st, 2021. Can I get a motion? Trustee Dumont, can I get a seconder? Trustee Chen, all those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. The second one is the Winnipeg Adult Education Center Off-Campus Funding Agreement 2020-2021. At a meeting held on February 3rd, 2020, the Board of Trustees was informed that a proposal in the amount of $823,079 for the Winnipeg Adult Education Center off-campus site, which includes funding for the Kakiao Ilmund Lyko Adult Learning Center, WAEC off-campus Adult Learning Center, taking charge of academics and the New Directions Transition Education and Resources for Females TERF program, had been submitted to the Adult Learning and Literacy Branch, Manitoba Education and Training. There are approximately 200 students who attend the Winnipeg Adult Education Center off-campus ALC sites. Approval has been received from Manitoba Education and Training, Adult Learning and Literacy that funding in the amount of $784,750 for Winnipeg Adult Education Center off-campus ALC has been approved for the 2020-2021 school year. So the recommendation is that the proper officers of the division be authorized to enter into an agreement with Adult Learning and Literacy Branch, Manitoba Education and Training in the amount of $784,750 for the operation of the Winnipeg Adult Education Center for the 2020-2021 school year. Can I get a motion, please? Can I get a, Trustee Chen, can I get a seconder, please? Trustee Shinkowski, all those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. New business, 9.1, renaming of Cecil Rhodes School. Do I talk, do I talk about this or do you?
Do you need?
I think I read it, right?
Do you need to move her so I can speak, or I can just speak?
Trustee Chen, you need to make a motion to defer to the October 19th meeting.
Trustee Chen?
I would like to make a motion to defer this motion to October 19, 2020's board meeting. And I'd like to briefly explain.
Sure.
As everyone knows that we are in
Point
COVID
of clarification, Chair.
I'm sorry.
In order to debate the motion, we need to have a seconder.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Can we get a seconder for the motion? Trustee Shinkowski. Okay. Trustee Chen.
I'll be brief. We are in COVID pandemic. Considering the current situation at schools, I feel right now is the time for the board to deal with more urgent COVID issues and back to school issues. I want to emphasize that it's not because the issue in my motion is not important. On the contrary, racism, discrimination, and xenophobia are on the rise during COVID. While our diverse students still face racism, it is important that we continue the discussion. Recognizing the history that led to the naming of Cecil Rhodes School is important. We cannot and should not erase history. But the names of our schools should reflect the identity among students. And there's no place for white supremacists in that identity. I hope we can discuss this motion in October's meeting. This will also give more time to parents and the community to focus on back to school. Thank you.
Is there any comments or questions? All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. Bylaw 1291 first reading, moved debenture borrowing promissory note $11,239,700. Moved by Trustee Demont, seconded by Trustee Shinkowski, that bylaw 2091, a bylaw of the Winnipeg School Division for the purpose of borrowing $11,239,700 for certain building projects be introduced and read a first time in short. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. Mr. Cochran?
A bylaw of the Board of Trustees, Winnipeg School Division for the purpose of borrowing the sum of $11,239,700 and of issuing a debenture and or promissory note hereinafter called as security therefore.
Item number 10, agenda information, moved by Trustee Reed and seconded by Trustee Demont. 10.1, that information correspondence IC 18-20-IC 27-20 be received as information. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. Moved by Trustee Reed, seconded by Trustee Chen, that Superintendent's Information Report number 7-2020 be received as information. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Business matters as defined in Rule 44.7. Moved by Trustee Demont, seconded by Trustee Shinkowski, that the board move into business matters as defined in Rule 44.7. Carried. Yep.